Hey everyone, it's been over a year since I previously did a video of the top 5 things I'm looking forward to in Coral Island. I want to take this video to go over my new top 5 and see how similar it is to the old one. Also, these are going to be in no particular order, so I'm just going to go from the top of the list to the bottom of my list. I don't want to rank these because that's going to be even more difficult than having to choose the top 5. So the first thing I have is mining. Over the last year and a half, Stairway Games slowly released more and more things about mining in the game. The mines and the mining mechanics used to look really basic, but just looking at the short videos they have showed, you can tell that they're putting a lot more effort into making mining an experience rather than a chore. They've also added different themes in the mines as well as bosses you can defeat. I'm also hoping that mining will be an integral part of the story, since I believe that giants are going to be from there. I'm just speculating there because there's a lot of evidence that maybe shows that they are from the mines, but again, we'll see once the story comes out. I'm also excited to see the changes to the map. This isn't necessarily one thing, but more of a cultivation of many. We know how much the map has changed in the last year and a half, and I'm extremely excited to see what the final product for the early access will look like on October 11th. Obviously, the map will be a work in progress since the game doesn't fully release for quite a while, but I think what we see in the early access will give us a good idea of the final product. The map basically did a 180 since February of 2021. Stairway Games have remodeled every building, road, interior that you can possibly think of. They basically scrapped their old design for a new modern look. The new look has a lot of soft curves. It's going to be exciting to finally be able to walk through the whole map and look at every single detail that the passionate people at Stairway have created. Let's talk about the skill tree. If you know me, then you know I love my skill trees. Any game that has a skill tree is a game I want to play. That's a little exaggeration, but it's not too far from the truth. I do really enjoy skill trees, especially from games that I want to pour hundreds of hours into, because it gives me that extra thing to do in the game, and it's not for nothing. Ranking up the skills is very important because it will make the gameplay a little bit easier and more efficient. It also lets you specialize in certain things, and you can cater your gameplay to that stuff. I think I want to make a video on just the skill tree and go more into detail about it, so I'll leave it there, but I think Stairway is going to knock it out of the park with this. Another thing that I'm excited about is the story. I wasn't sure if I should include the story as something I'm excited for in early access because the full story won't be available at the time. The story will be fully complete by the time full release happens, but as we know, that may not be till 2024. However, we will see a glimpse of the story during and throughout the early access. It will be interesting to see what direction they go with in the story other than Karen being the antagonist in the story. I want to see how they introduce the Coral 3 and how we end up getting to the Merfolk Kingdom. Not all my wishes will be granted during launch of the early access, but I hope we get a good chunk of the story to play through. Last but definitely not least is the diving. Diving will be interesting because we have seen a sizable amount about the diving mechanic and what the underwater will look like. But we don't really know what else we will do other than cleaning up the ocean. Will the only reason, at least during the early access, to go diving is to collect trash as a resource to upgrade other parts of the island? Or will there be some merfolk there that will give us quests and challenges to do? This is the kind of stuff I want to see. This game is called Coral Island, and I'm hoping that means that you'll be able to spend a good amount of time underwater doing a lot of different activities. So that's my little quick top 5. Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to go a little bit more into detail about any of these topics other than the skill tree, because I think I'm going to still make a video about that. I have a lot to say about each of them, but I just didn't want to drag the video too much. I mentioned that I did this type of video before, so let's see how different my new top 5 is from my old one. As you can see, I only have 2 similar things from my old one, which is the skill tree and diving. In my old one, I also had exotic pets. I'm still excited for exotic pets, don't get me wrong, but I'm definitely not as excited as some of the mechanics that they're adding to the game. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of exotic pets they add and if you'll be able to use them as mounts and all that stuff, but definitely not in my top 5. And of course, island hopping. I'm still super excited, and it's probably my top 3 things I'm most excited about in Coral Island, but I'm doing things just in the early access because island hopping isn't going to come in till after full release. And lastly, there's community projects. I'm really excited about this because I love building out the island, doing quests, just doing a lot of fetch me stuff. But again, can you blame me? There's so many things in the game that just having a top 5 is really hard in general. And I think the top 5 I have right now is a pretty good one. Now, I would love to know about your top 5 and to see how different it is from mine. The awesome thing about this game is that there's so much stuff to do that everybody top 5 is probably going to be completely different. And thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you on the next one.